I've always loved Adam Sandler movies, Freaky Friday, Jojo Rabbit. I like movies that have an artistic excellence to them, but also have like humor and heart. And that's really what I want to like work on balancing in my own work. Hi, my name is Chelsea Patricia Ramirez. I'm a SoCal filmmaker, director, actor, writer, producer, entrepreneur, and I am Guatemalan American. I've been raised in Southern California my whole life. I was born in Hollywood and then raised throughout the IE. If you're from SoCal, that's Montana, Rancho Cucamonga, San Bernardino area. And I focus on telling stories about and for the bouncy, bold, and restless. I really love the unwise hero's journey, and I try to explore that catharsis and that comedy through my storytelling and through any of my artistic work. Dani, deja el relajo. I first read Go Dani Go, and it was a script titled Junior that my friend David Wilner wrote. He's an amazing writer, director. And initially the script was written based out of the experience of a friend of his from Oxnard, Ventura, California. That's a very agricultural based community, as many SoCal residents would tell you. And it was based out of this young man's experience working in the fields with his parents. So when I first read the script, it was just to help my friend David kind of get some eyes and see how, the producibility of it, because, it's getting a field, creating a realistic nature for that story to even be told and telling it authentically, because of course it's based on a true experience and then, largely based out of the immigrant Latino experience.
Look, we come, we work, we go home. We do it again. It's in this grind, but hey, that's childhood.
When I first read Junior, I cried because it was so resonant with my own experience as the child of immigrants. I grew up helping my dad lightly in construction work, and then mostly working with my mom in the swap meets around Southern California growing up. So I knew what it was like to, be younger and have to work and try to do your best to contribute to the family in some way. So once I saw that script, I pretty much knew in my heart that that was the project I wanted to move forward with. And then David would even tell you, he says he felt like the script was for me, like it chose me. So we moved forward in the pitching process with it. We're selected for the next round and was eventually selected to be produced and for me to direct it with USC's collaboration. I was one of the first Latinas selected for that like incubator style project. So I was the first Latina, not the first Latina in my program, but I would say that there are not many Latinas, as you could imagine, not many Latinos overall. So it was nice to be able to represent the community and just bring us closer together there.
¿Todo bien, ma? Super.
Bueno.
So I could talk about the first moment I ever saw Patricia Cardoso in my life. I was working at UC Riverside. I studied for two of my BAs, creative writing and film at UC Riverside. I was working in the arts administration building, and I heard that Patricia Cardoso was going to be coming in because she was eventually going to become a professor. And I was like, of course, I was like, I know who she is. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I'm like prepping the day that she's coming in, and then she walks into the office and she's just like this incredibly grounded and present human being. And she's like, oh, hello there. And I was like, hello, Mrs. Cardoso. She helped me with so much of like the creative development when I was getting ready to direct the girls, when I was running through the blocking. She's like a champion of like our next generation, in my opinion.
¿Qué estás haciendo?
¿Te he dicho que hermosa te ves hoy?
Ale, ponte a trabajar.
Initially, I had one producer attached who was Trey Sutton. We were looking for another female producer because that's something I really, really value. And again, like I mentioned to you, it's just unfortunate because even within USC, there's not enough Latino talent for me to be like, okay, I want another Latina producer. Okay, it's like only 2 other Latinas I know are already on other projects, and they can't give me more of their bandwidth because they already have stuff to do. So we were looking for a woman filmmaker, and then we found Justine Bede, who is incredible, and she just came so highly recommended, and she backed it up because she was incredible. Again, it is just so particular because we were looking for like 2 young Latina girls, and then a Latina mom, someone who could fit the roles that we were looking for, and then who were also within the Los Angeles area, or who were able to make that commute. Looking for trainer, or like for actors who were trained, but also, you know, we are open to people who were still beginning their acting journey, I guess. And we got really lucky after like rounds of searching that we found our actors as we have them now, which is Laura for Mom, Karime Valeriano for Ale, and then Sammy X for Dani. And they were just an incredible team, very actively involved and wanting to know as much as possible before we started. And then that's kind of, I say, how it would begin to concretize itself. It was like, the hardest one was to get the field. But once we got like the fields, like we could kind of like bring in the rest of the logistical elements, and see what was available through the field, and then start to like work production design around that. And I could tell a few stories about that, because even the field that we got, is when we scouted it, it was very evenly like cut, like the rows. But then we paid and we acquired the field. But then when we started, when we were coming in, I think I came in a couple of days before we started shooting, I noticed that they let the field grow out. So there were these weeds as tall as me. It didn't look like a strawberry field. My team went in and we cleared rows of the field, which again is just incredibly intensive work. It just, we had to do it because I couldn't put like an 8-year-old and like a 12-year-old girl in fields that I wouldn't even go myself. And then we only cleared out a section. So you'll also see parts of the film where there's like, you see the field, but there's parts that are taller. And then there's a section where we put the girls, where we work with them only for the duration of the project. But it's because that's what happened with the field. You don't know all the problems until they start like rearing their head in that kind of situation. We filmed there for like 3 or 4 weekends, and then the field, they never cleared it. They told us that they would clear it, and they never did. God bless them. Absolutely. And I'll shout out Matthew Beavers because he was our cinematographer. For cinematography, I know some basic rules that we had were between movement and then depth of field. So the moments where Dani feels the most trapped, I would say, are going to be when we're on sticks. So we are on like a static tripod. And then we're also having like the most depth possible, which again, depth is just like how deep the image looks on the screen. There's a moment where she's sitting in like the rows of the strawberries, and we let like the rows of the strawberries kind of create lines towards her that add like the most depth and like, I don't know how to say other than like deepness to the image, because we wanted her to feel like she was like in a hole. I think for me, the moment that I knew right away as I read the script, like I knew how it was going to go, was that sequence of her running towards the field. I was like, I see that with such clarity, like in my life. Like I could shot, I'll tell you how it goes. Questioning that and seeing if that was the best way to tell it. And then building everything else pretty much like around like that concept to like lead up to that moment visually, and then how it's going to arc after that when we go back into her like reality, and then into her like into her life post this decision, and then still giving it that hopefulness at the end, like a bittersweet hopefulness.
You think I'm stupid?
No, señor. I don't understand.
Come here! I've been good to you, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
good,
sí,
you good,
señor.
you get over
Very,
here.
Very good. Okay. Señor, please, please.
And Maddie was patient enough to hear all of my ramblings about that and contribute too, because that's who he is. He just goes hard, and we don't go home.
Calm down, I'll fix the box.
And again, I'm always like mindful, because I think that there's a power in our words. I think that this generation, with like these generations, something more doors are opening for sure. The amount will only increase with time, because we're here and we're opening those doors for other people as we go. So there is possibility, not to say like, you know, maybe it's like a historically like, you know, incredible amount, but we are going to reach those places. But that being said, it's like for so many reasons, you know, coming out of our community, like even me, it's like I like said, be open to finding your voice. But I think back on my own journey, it was so hard, because I'm like the youngest of 4 children in an immigrant family. My voice was not the priority. So I was used to, you know, just say yes, just do what you're told, trying not to be a problem, even though I was a problem at times. And like, you know, you're a girl, so you can't speak in front of other men sometimes. And like, it's all these kind of things culturally that I don't agree with, that I've had to learn to be okay with being the outlier, because even though that doesn't make me popular sometimes in my home or in my community, I know that it's helping prepare me for a platform where this is something that's salient and like worthy, and that I want to put out into the world. I think that's like some other advice that I got that was fantastic, is not thinking about what you want to be in the industry as much as who you want to be in the industry. And for me, I know when people look at me, and girls look at me and they see already how far I've gone. And, you know, I'm not at any, like, I would say like, you know, I'm not winning an Oscar or anything like that, but I know girls who already see themselves in me, because I come from where they come from, and I've already dealt with some of the things that they've had dealt with, and I've kept going. And it's hard, because nobody in, you know, like executive suites or in certain entertainment spheres can really understand like the cultural obstacles, challenges that we face, especially when they come to like honoring our family, honoring our culture. That's what we're taught so heavily. But I do think like if we've already chosen this path, it's because there's like a bravery within us. So trusting that, and then being open to like, of course, honoring and dealing with our community with kindness, while also not forgetting what our purpose is in the world. So projects that I've been working on, I'm working on developing a documentary right now, based out of the Inland Empire, which is great. Again, Inland Empire, woo, we're out here. I've been looking for like positions within like the industry in some like executive assistant or personal assistant capacity, because I want to keep learning from people that are doing the kind of work that I want to do and I know I'm capable of doing. So like picking some wisdom from them as I go. I've also been directing commercials, which is fantastic. A fantastic medium and a fantastic option for, I think, people who are directing, and then also trying to build a portfolio while also keeping their production chops going. Because it's not the same as making a narrative long form piece, but it is like, you know, it's work and it's a visual sample of what I'm capable of. And then being able to leverage that for what I want to do specifically as I go. And yeah, writing. I've been writing a lot. And with Grumpy Kid Pictures, again, I'm lucky. I think I partner with some of my collaborators, which again are some of my friends, to kind of have a slate ready for what I want to do in like the next 2 years. Because within the next 2 years, by the end of the 2-year mark, I'd love to be working on developing and preparing to direct a feature film. So I have 3 projects on my slate this year to direct, and then going into next year I'd like another like 4, and then I'd like to start working towards directing a feature film.